Really weird stuff. That's very weird.
Really Weird Stuff is a holistic Twin Peaks podcast. That means we discuss each episode within the context of the series as a whole. In other words, spoilers abound. Welcome to episode 9 of Really Weird Stuff, a Twin Peaks podcast. I am one of your hosts, Jessica Baxter.
I'm Annie Malone.
And with us to discuss Season 2, Episode 1, May the Giant Be With You, is Krishane Jones. Welcome.
Hello. It's good to be here, finally.
We did have to reschedule this a bunch of times, but that's...
Oh, yes, but I could not have done it.
I mean, no, it's not. I'm not blaming anybody. Things are crazy right now.
Yeah.
And you, Krishane, I had to reschedule for a very good reason, I think. I mean, both the reasons were great, but you just got back from a huge trip abroad. Do you want to talk about that?
Despite the COVID, which we did not get while we were abroad, we went to Greece and Croatia, and it was lovely and very sick of summer. So I'm really happy to be back in gloomy Seattle. It's great.
Yeah, it's really accommodating the gloominess right now.
It's very nice.
Well, Krishane, can you tell us a little bit about your history with Twin Peaks, since you're a new guest for us?
Aha, yes. So I came to Twin Peaks a little bit later in life. I'm not old, but I kind of act like an old person. I grew up in a really rural area in Illinois, and I had an older sibling who is almost Gen X. So I watched a lot of older stuff. And when I was in my 20s, I found out about this cool thing called Twin Peaks. I had heard of David Lynch. I'd watched Blue Velvet. I loved Mulholland Drive. And I was like, Twin Peaks, I know, it's kind of been part of the cultural furniture for so long, and I knew of it. So then when I was about, I would say 21 or so, I really got hardcore into Twin Peaks and Fire Walk with Me, and it changed my world. It made it so much more weird and wonderful, and I've been a Twin Peaks fan ever since.
That's awesome. Yeah, it does tend to change a person one way or the other.
Indeed it does.
And then you did something kind of special with your wedding too. You were on a honeymoon for one of the most fun weddings I've ever been to.
So we had a reception that was Twin Peaks themed. It was all Black Lodge. We had like the cool zigzag chevron pattern everywhere, red floodlights everywhere. We actually entered by dancing to, I don't know, we had a log. We definitely had a log. We danced with the log in front of everybody, just the two of us. And I can't remember which track from the soundtrack it was. It might have been Freshly Squeezed, but I can't recall for sure. Something to that effect. It was kind of fantastic.
It's definitely one of the jazzier Badalamenti numbers I remember. It was very cute, and you looked adorable. Where did you get all that stuff, the Black Lodge stuff?
Oh man, I think the table runners came from Etsy probably. I still have them. I imagine that I'll probably use them at some point someday, that I just keep holding on to them. But I think those were Etsy. And then of course all the red tablecloths were just rentals, and the floodlights were rentals. I mean, the venue kind of decorated itself. It was mostly just the table runners.
You had chairs too.
Yeah, I totally forgot that we had a photo booth. So that's the funny thing, is we just went on our honeymoon, but our wedding was like 4 years ago. So I forget things. But yeah, the chair, that was a Craigslist thing. The log was actually a Capitol Hill Buy Nothing on Facebook, I'm pretty sure. The lights, I don't remember where the floor lamps, the chrome floor lamps came from. I don't know. We just collected an assortment of things, probably mostly from Etsy and like Buy Nothing groups and Craigslist. It was an adventure.
Yeah. Do you still have the lamps?
Yes, we do. But we're actually remodeling. We're creating a media room downstairs in our half-finished basement, and it's going to be Black Lodge themed. And so we're going to have the lights down there. Pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a really great idea for a media room. All right, well, let's get into this episode.
Right.
This is also known as, it's so funny, the episode numbers, because it's also known as episode 8, even though there's another episode 8 in the return. But in true episode 8 fashion, it's a crazy episode.
Yeah.
It was broadcast on September 30th, 1990, written by Mark Frost and David Lynch and directed by David Lynch, and was watched by 19.1 million households, which amounted to 20% of American audiences at that time. Kicks off with extra long credits. The only other time the credits are this long are in the pilot. And there is an extra long shot of the spooky river right before we open on room 315 of the Great Northern Hotel, where Cooper is lying bleeding to death.
Yikes. Well, not to death. I mean,
Not
he
yet.
doesn't die.
Not yet, but that's true. You're right.
He's bleeding.
He's bleeding a lot. He
Don't
says-
exaggerate.
And Andy's calling to him through the phone.
Agent Cooper, it's Andy.
An elderly waiter arrives with the glass of warm milk that Cooper ordered right before getting shot 3 times by an unknown assailant, Josie.
Spoiler, it was Josie.
So Cooper asks the waiter to put the milk on the table and to call a doctor. Oh my goodness. This is a stressful scene.
And would you call a doctor?
Sure.
The waiter has so much trouble hanging up the phone. I wonder if that was scripted that way or
Yeah.
a lot of trouble getting that phone on the hook. Is interesting. There's like a complete lack of urgency.
Yes.
So,
Oh my God.
I really like the way it's shot, like Coop lying there, and then the waiter, they're sort of dressed exactly the same, except that where the waiter has like the red apron, it's just like Coop's blood.
Oh my God.
Very perceptive. Yeah.
Oh, this one.
I feel like that's something you would usually be the one to
I didn't notice that. That's amazing. I love it. I'm always trying to like work out how he's gonna turn into the giant, you know?
Right.
He is shot as if he's very tall, but it's just because he's like looming over Coop.
Yeah.
Because later on, when he's like one and the same, I'm like, it's not just that this guy disappears and the giant comes in. It's like supposed to be the same guy.
Yeah.
So why is the giant fucking with him so hardcore?
Right.
Do you have any theories on that, Krishane?
It's like, I'm a frail waiter. Wait, no, not really. I'm a ceiling skimming giant, and I'm going to reveal secrets to you. Or maybe it's just in your head. Who knows?
Yeah, it's crazy. I just have a theory just now. Maybe it's because Cooper's like, where do you come from? And the giant says,
The question is, where have you gone?
so I wonder if like all that fucking with him is like him just waiting for him to die enough to take him wherever he needs to go.
Huh.
Maybe that's why he comes back 3 times to like wink at him and give him the thumbs up again.
Right.
Possibly giving him a little bit more time, little space to get a little closer to death.
Yeah. He's like, okay, not ready yet. Not quite there.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty trolly though.
Yeah.
It's like, come on.
Well, I mean, yeah, the whole thing is no troll. And like, okay, I'm gonna tell you 3 things, and
Yeah.
also you forgot something, and there's a clue.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, tell them what happened. Go ahead. The owls are not what they seem. That's not a helpful clue. You know?
It's true. And it's like a while before he figures that one out.
Right.
The giant really just loves to be a little riddle teller, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then he says, we want to help you. It's like, well, it doesn't
Right.
seem like it.
Right? I almost thought that he was like the most important, the most valuable character in the entire episode. But then I'm like, I don't know, he's really not that helpful.
Like, he's on the right track, but he's still so far from figuring it out. So yeah, when the giant finally comes, and the 3 things he says are, there's a man in a smiling bag, the owls are not what they seem, and without chemicals, he points. And then the 4th thing that he wants to
Right.
say, he says, I have 3 things to tell you, and a 4th thing. The fourth thing is that Leo was locked inside the hungry horse. And a fifth thing, there's a clue at Leo's house. Anything else?
Yes, isn't there another thing? Like you'll
require medical attention.
Medical attention. I feel like that one is kind of a gimme.
That's one Coop already knew about because he said call a doctor. And guess what? The giant soul doesn't fucking call the doctor.
Right. Did Andy call the doctor? 'Cause
Andy must have
heard the gunshots. And Agent Cooper. Agent Cooper.
Yeah. So maybe he's like, help is already on its way.
Right.
Because Andy figured it out. But like, I don't know if I would leave something that important to Andy to figure out. That seems like you're really
rolling the dice.
Let the chips fall for the day.
But then we cut away to One-Eyed Jack's,
Yeah.
where Ben is trying to have a look at the new girl.
Let's have a look at the new girl.
And it's Audrey. And that is super gross. She recognizes his voice right away, I feel like, as soon as he walks in the room.
I don't know what Audrey's plan was, regardless, whether it's Ben or not. But I mean, she does acknowledge she's in over her head. So.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she was gonna roll with it. Like, whatever, I can make out with the dude. I don't know if she really understood the extent of what she'd have to do, but
yeah,
I feel like she's just totally thrown by the fact that it's her dad. Like, she's like, okay, well, shit.
Yeah. Oh boy, what a curveball that is.
That's a little more than I could chew.
Yeah.
I know. By the end of the episode, it's so sad for Audrey.
I know.
And getting sadder. So he tries to get into the bed. She totally calls him on his fake walking out the door thing.
Right.
And manages to grab a mask and a duvet before he comes back.
She's like under the duvet. Go away.
Yeah, I'm shy. There's a great sound effect too, implying that she pulls the blanket over her head really fast. You hear that's a good reveal. There's some good sound effects as usual in a David Lynch directed episode. There's fortunately some conveniently placed creepy masks that she's managed to grab one. Fortunately, unfortunately for Blackie, there's an SNAG, as Jerry puts it.
Yes, strange.
Something to do with Blackie and heroin.
Yeah.
So he leaves, and I guess it really speaks to Ben's just absentee dad shittiness that he doesn't recognize her voice because it's so recognizable.
I think you should go now.
Do you, Prudence?
Yes, I do. I really do.
Yeah.
That. Even though she's like raising the pitch a little bit, I'm like, that's still her.
You should know when your kid is putting on a funny voice.
Right.
Right?
He's the worst dad. Second worst dad? He's one of the worst dads.
He's the worst.
Pretty awful father.
Leland?
But I mean, that's, not all.
It's a dumb thing.
I mean, I feel like that's a whole other thing.
You're right. Okay. The worst dad that's not possessed by an evil spirit. That's what's going on there. When Audrey lowers her mask, brava, I should say, to Cheryl and Fenn, because that's a face that contains multitudes right there.
Yeah.
Back at the Great Northern, Coop is speaking to Diane via the voice-activated tape recorder. I love that he's like,
I can only hope that I inadvertently pressed the voice activation button.
he did. That's amazing. He's going through a list of regrets and desires and...
What a sweet set of last wishes
I
that is.
know.
It's so lovely.
So wholesome.
I would like to climb a tall hill, sit in the cool grass. I wish I could have cracked the Lindbergh kidnapping case. I would very much like to make love to a beautiful woman who I had genuine affection for. And, of course, it goes without saying that I would like to visit Tibet. I wish they could get their country back and the Dalai Lama could return. All in all, a very interesting experience.
I would like that very much.
No.
Like if Tibet is free.
And the Dalai Lama can return.
Right.
There's also a great little Duden reference here, which I'm thinking must be intentional.
Being shot is not as bad as I always thought it might be. As long as you can keep the fear from your mind.
Oh, good catch.
He says it twice, kind of, because he's like, I think that's true about most things.
It's not so bad as long as you can keep the fear from your mind.
And he notices his ring is gone for real. I love his, like, possibly last words, but they aren't, but what he thinks they might be. All in all, a very interesting experience.
Yeah.
The That's so Coop. My
Imagine
God.
having that kind of mind space, like when you think you're dying, you know?
Right.
Totally. This has been swell.
Mhm.
So he blacks out and then comes to at Calhoun Memorial Hospital.
Oh boy.
Where Doc-
Popping at the hospital.
Yes, Doc Hayward is tired. Everybody's so tired in this episode. I think a motif might be sleep deprivation.
Yeah. Or also just people lying down, like lying down and talking to someone who isn't there. A lot of people do that.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of people lying down, but also a lot of people half conscious talking to nobody.
They found the wood tick that he was chasing on one of the bullets. I guess it's the only bullet that entered him. Cooper says he doesn't really, well, I guess he remembers what happened, but he didn't see anything. He saw the gunman's masked face and some kind of gun flash.
Right.
And then Lucy updates him on the events of the previous night.
Leo Johnson was shot. Jacques Renault was strangled. The mill burned. Shelley and Pete got smoke inhalation. Catherine and Josie are missing. Nadine is in a coma from taking sleeping pills.
Oh,
And I love Coop's line reading on.
How long have I been out?
It's like such a hacky joke, kind of, but he just
Right.
does such an earnest delivery that it really works.
It works.
We haven't had this much action in one night since the Elks Club fire of 59.
But then I also feel like Doc Hayward must be forgetting something that happened between the Elks Club fire of 59 and now.
in 30 years, yeah.
That's hard to believe. And
Well,
he would
I
know
mean, it's
because
a
he's
lot.
the only doctor that works at this
Why
hospital.
is he in every situation?
But Cooper is optimistic as usual, says, don't worry, I can get up right now.
When the will is invoked, the recuperative powers of the physical body are simply extraordinary. Just give me a couple hours to get dressed.
Typical Cooper.
So, rest already. You can take
I
a
know,
rest.
We've been noticing in the first season, like his sleep keeps getting interrupted.
Yeah.
Poor Coop. He must be so tired.
Maybe he needs the sleep deprivation. Maybe it's kind of similar to with the giant and he needs to be near death. So he has these visions when he's sleep deprived. Potentially. Who knows?
Maybe. Because he kind of does his worst detective work after he's been sort of sleeping for 25 years. So
Exactly.
maybe you're right. Okay. We're still at the hospital in Shelley's room. She's watching a report on the mill fire. The reporter's name is Cyril Pons, and he's played by Mark Frost.
Oh, nice.
I'm standing just in front of where a massive log storage area of the Packard sawmill burned to the ground under what fire department investigators are calling mysterious circumstances.
And I love that Cyril Pons checks his notes before he says mysterious circumstances.
Right.
It's like, what was the cause? Oh, yeah.
Mysterious circumstances.
It looks pretty bad. I don't know what like footage that actually is of, because they didn't really burn down that mill for real, but it's like burned out cars and just so much just terrible.
Yep.
It's a bad fire. I did read like an inconsistency thing. Well, I don't know if it's inconsistency or if it's just that the mill is so badly managed, but apparently it's common practice at sawmills to store the wood wet.
Oh.
So yeah, why is all that lumber so dry? It's like they wanted it to burn down.
See, because they did want it to burn down.
Yeah, they did. When Shelley cries because the last thing she remembers is that Leo was gonna run off and kill Bobby. So
Yeah.
that's so sad. For a minute, I guess she thinks Bobby's dead. How do you feel about Bobby, Krishane?
You know, I don't mind Bobby.
Oh, good.
We love Bobby.
We're huge Bobby fans.
I like Bobby because Bobby is receptive to other people's opinions and different perspectives, the way that I wouldn't have imagined him to be just from watching the pilot. And so you see like a lot of really great character development over the course of, you know, the 3 seasons of Twin Peaks that we actually have now. It's fantastic.
Yes.
He really goes on a journey.
He really does. And I would argue that it kind of starts in this episode.
One thing we often like to remember is that Bobby also just killed a guy like a week ago.
Bobby killed a guy.
That's why, like, Bobby has gone through a lot of trauma in the last couple weeks.
He's working through it.
Yeah.
It is hilariously easy to forget that Bobby killed the guy. Cooper sees Jacques Renault's
Jacques,
corpse being wheeled away, and he asks if the bag is smiling. it's not really smiling.
Right.
So he's like, all right. And then Lucy is just unhelpfully whining about Dippy Brennan.
I can go either way on Lucy, but this episode, she is bugging me. Lucy, can you just like
What's there to smile about?
to someone else, you know?
Yeah.
Like Cooper's, he just got shy. He doesn't want, he's not invested in your like, Officer Brennan.
This is not the time. She says they're professionals. It's like, well, actually, you're the one that's being pretty unprofessional.
Right.
now.
Also, I still don't really get why her reaction to this whole thing of like to be mad at Andy because she's pregnant and it might not even be his anyway. You know what I mean? Lucy, I don't even know what's up, girl.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I think maybe she assumed it was his just because, like, she probably boned him more theoretically, and she doesn't really seem to understand the way things work in general. So maybe she thinks that, like, the person you bone more is the person who will father your child, and then it's like she's really thrown, I think, when he tells her he's sterile.
Right, but then as soon as she found out she was pregnant before she even told him, like she's been mad at him, and that's weird.
That's true. Although we don't know how it happened. We don't know. There were at least 2 accidents.
2 accidents.
I would assume there would have been.
There had to have been if there was a question as to the paternity.
I don't get what you mean by accident. Like
2 times when she could have conceivably been impregnated.
Okay. Accident, I think means like the actual pregnancy, you know, because I feel like
right.
What you're saying, I feel like is like a slip up or whatever.
Well, I'm just saying she must have knowingly had unprotected sex with both of those men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not always an accident.
Okay. She purposely raw dogged both of them.
Which still doesn't necessarily explain her intense anger at Andy about the whole situation. I don't get it either. It makes no sense.
I mean, she seems like someone that would be like, oh, just pull out, or I'll jump up and down after I use the bathroom, or like it's probably an okay time, you know. That's why I was like a little sorry I made you belabor that, but I'm like, to me, accident means like an actual pregnancy. So I thought, I'm like, what? She was pregnant 2 other times.
Oh, okay.
That was the confusion.
Got it. All right. Well, yeah. No matter what, it does not excuse her attitude about it. It's unfair. Anyway, someone with much bigger problems is across the hall. Rana Pulaski.
Oh boy.
Remembering walking across the bridge and kind of coming out of her coma, just a little bit. That's a scary moment, remembering. Oh, poor Ronette. And then more people with a lot of problems at the Palmer house. Poor old Maddie is drinking coffee with Sarah, and Sarah acts normal for like half a second.
Have you been missing your mom?
And then kind of remembers that her daughter was murdered and goes back to being Sarah.
I had the strangest dream last night. About what?
The rug. Right here. Right from this angle where I'm sitting.
Was Laura in it?
Sarah has really crazy hair in this scene.
Yeah. When Grace Zabriskie like moves her eyebrows, her whole hair moves back and forth.
Yeah.
I don't know how she does
very
that.
Expressive hair.
She's just so expressive that like literally every part of her body expresses some kind of emotion,
Right.
some conflicting emotion. My God. Maddie says that she had a strange dream, and Sarah is immediately like, oh, was Laura in that? Ugh. But before she can answer, Leland pops out from behind a screen singing a song that we will all have in our heads for the next week or so, probably.
Yeah,
Mares and Oats.
Oh, maresy dotes and dozy dotes and little lambsy divey, a kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? A kiddly divey too, wouldn't you? A kiddly divey too, wouldn't you?
Had y'all ever heard this song before Twin Peaks?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
This is like a well-known song.
I have never heard
it.
Oh yeah, this is an oldie.
It is. My grandparents had like a cassette tape of oldies and like kind of silly, goofy songs that they would play for us in their station wagon, and that was one of them.
We had it at some preschool or daycare I worked at. It was on one of our kids' CDs, but I feel like I remember them singing it on like Happy Days too or something. Like this is an old thing.
I mean, I definitely believe that. I don't know why that never worked its way into my orbit other than Twin Peaks. It's a crazy song.
It is a weird ass song, yeah.
And his hair is white.
Yes, his hair is white.
White as a sheet, as Maddie says later.
Uncle Lennon's hair turned white.
White as a white sheet.
White as a white sheet. He's wearing a neat tie and his hair is very, very
Now,
neat.
does Krishane know about the neat and messy?
I'm not sure.
Probably not, because it's only from
Yeah.
us.
Well, I don't know. It should be out there. I feel like it should be out there, but maybe it isn't. I don't know. Anyway,
I think it's a thing we've cracked.
a thing we've cracked, thanks to your brother,
That's my brother, yes.
is that Leland, when he's definitely bobbing out, he usually has a neat tie and his hair is combed. When he's like full Leland, that's when he's in pajamas and his hair is all messy.
Interesting.
Or loose.
And right before he kills Maddie, he straightens his tie in the mirror and
Yep,
Bob.
he sure does.
Straighten the tie, Bob. There
Yeah.
you go.
I can get on board with that.
And you really start to notice it a lot. at
Right. You
different
notice
times.
how he's acting when he's neat and when he's messy.
Yeah.
So he's very neat in this scene.
He is.
I need in this whole episode,
Yes,
except
you're right.
for like 1 second, really, toward the end. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about the hair in a little bit. During the Hayward Supper Club, I think it's a good time to bring that up. I love Sarah's double take, actually, because she kind of gives an annoyed, like, God, fucking stop singing Leland look, and then double takes and is like, what?
Yeah.
Poor Sarah. But it's not as scary as the vision that Maddie starts to have.
Oh,
Yeah. Nightmares.
Oh, good Lord. Poor Maddie.
I
I feel like I've wrote the note, poor Maddie, about 5 or 6
I
times.
know. Every time I see her, she's right there in that living room. Oh, Maddie.
Yeah. Leland gets over to the Great Northern somehow really fucking fast. Probably driving erratically, I imagine, and playing Oklahoma or some shit. He's still singing his little ditty and he walks in and the Horn brothers are immediately on board.
Yes, they're like completely in. Let's dance to Marcy Dose. Like, yep.
And then he makes his announcement about being back and ready, and they're like, oh, you didn't just come to dance with us, you actually wanted to tell us something.
I'm back. Back and ready.
Then we're at the Johnson house, where a picture is forming.
Sheriff, a picture is forming.
For Coop, Harry, of course, is completely bewildered.
Leo was trying to turn someone into kindling. The person hit the TV, moved it. You can see the depression in the carpet. Shelley? Shelley Johnson's about 99 pounds soaking wet. This is a big TV. Leo advanced, axe raised. Bullet came through the window, knocked Leo back onto the couch. You think Miss Shelley pulled the trigger? Sheriff, get your mind off Shelley.
Very good.
As usual.
No, he's like a constant LVP. I mean,
Yeah.
I
he's
kind of
always wrong.
I know, he's always wrong. And I kind of feel like his whole purpose is just for like Coop to explain things to the audience.
Right, yes. He's a stand-in for the like dumbest audience member.
Why don't they have Andy make those comments then? Why is the sheriff the one that's like, I don't know what happened?
Yeah, well, also, doesn't he know that Shelley wasn't there? Like, she's in the hospital.
Yeah,
He
I know.
should-
Remember
he
how
should
Shelley
have
was
done
tied up?
that.
He's so dumb. But he's excited to find a new issue of Flesh World.
Yeah.
He says, what issue is this?
Flesh World. What issue is this?
Very excited. A little concerning.
I mean, I want to be sex positive, but I'm sure that whatever Harry wants with Flesh World is a dumb reason. I'm sure it's
Right.
something dumb.
Right.
He just wants to find a weird thing and be weirded out by it.
Yeah,
you
and make
know?
fun of it.
Probably.
Hawk has found Leo's duster in the truck, and then Albert pulls up,
Yeah.
and in Andy's haste to inform Harry that Albert is there, he steps on a board and gives himself a full concussion.
Yeah. Nobody is concerned enough about Andy's injury here.
I feel like a motif in this episode is people underreacting to grave injuries. They're just like, are you okay?
Andy, you all right? Andy, are you all right?
No, Andy is not
Andy's
okay.
Clearly not okay. It doesn't weird. I don't get where as soon as he sees that Albert's coming, he's like, Harry, do you know who it is? Like, why?
Yeah.
I don't really get that, but I love that he calls him Agent Rosenflower.
He doesn't get his name right
And that's
once in this episode.
I know, but Rosenflower is before he even gets hit in the head.
Yeah, I think that's a thing because then earlier Doc Hayward called him Rosenfeld. People just don't want to get Albert's name right because they hate him.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Passive aggressive or dumb.
Maybe that's it. Yeah. I mean, maybe like that. Maybe that's another reason that Albert is not charmed by this town.
Right.
Huh.
Never seen a Jewish person before. I mean, I doubt he's Jewish for reals, but that's a Jewish name at least.
He's
I mean,
definitely not Jewish for real. It's Miguel Ferrer.
I didn't say Miguel Ferrer. I mean Albert himself.
I don't know. Yeah.
He might just have a Jewish name. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it still speaks to that Twin Peaks finds that completely unfamiliar.
Yeah,
This name
that's right.
Rosenblum. Never heard of it.
Rosen something.
What? Rosa what?
Totally. Burgos calls this moment the chicken dance.
He does.
And it's one of his favorite moments of all of Twin Peaks. I just can't stop worrying about poor Andy's brain that did not need another dent.
It's not like, movies when someone gets hit in the head and they lose their memory and then they get hit in the head again and it's bad.
They're okay.
Or they Andy getting something back.
Or sometimes you can speak French now or whatever. This is not one of those concussions. There is a bit of a goof. Albert takes his glasses off 3 times. He keeps doing the whipping his glasses off in the wide shot. There's one close up, but 2 wide shots where he does it again. I want to think that who was it? That guy with the cop show in Florida. Is it CSI?
I feel like it's David Caruso.
David Caruso and the glasses. I feel like he stole that from Albert.
Maybe.
That's a theory. Because he's tried to make that famous, but Albert loves to do this move. But
well, that's funny too, because is that a little motif? Because then there's the whole thing with Maddie with the glasses.
Glasses.
He gives the sunglasses to Donna, and then Donna with the sunglasses is a whole thing.
Yeah,
and then she breaks her own glasses.
Yeah,
something going on here with glasses.
You're right. There is.
A lot of motifs.
Yeah. Something about not wanting to see things right or seeing things, I don't know.
Something.
Who knows? There's something there. We'll save that for the dissertation. But one thing that the concussion does yield is more clues. The board that flips up and hits Andy in the head was concealing a new pair of boots. How many pairs of boots does Leo have? And a lot of cocaine under the board. A lot of cocaine, says Coop.
Is that just a thing that when he gets some cocaine, they're hidden in some boots or something? And that's why, when he says Leo needs a new pair of shoes, is that
maybe
what's going on there?
I mean, I always thought that line was I need a new pair of shoes because I stepped in some blood with the other shoes that I just bought. And now evidence and I can't use them anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like he says it like it's something people are gonna understand exactly what he means or something.
Yeah, maybe. But he also hides the cocaine in football, so he just likes hiding cocaine in places.
Right.
That's one of his favorite things to do.
That's a hobby of Leo's for sure.
Places to hide cocaine.
At the Double R Diner, some rando declares that the pie is good.
Hot damn, that pie's good.
Hank clears the table, is just in the background being Hank. Donna shows up in her femme fatale outfit with jazzy beats underneath her, and that's when she gets Laura's glasses. Maddie seems not very keen to pass them on, but she does it anyway.
Yeah,
because she's such a nice person.
And then I'm puzzled when Maddie breaks her own glasses. Does she not need those glasses?
Yeah, I know.
I always wondered that. Can you see?
Donna, do you see these glasses that I'm wearing? Yeah. I hate them. I'm never wearing these again.
Hopefully she has some contacts at home or something.
Right.
Yeah, that's very puzzling. And glasses are so expensive too. I think that was before Warby Parker or whatever. So if you really need those glasses.
I don't know. She hates those glasses.
She hates them. She should get new glasses, but she should keep her old ones until she gets new ones.
Yeah.
Donna tells her about James spending the night in jail because of the cocaine. She lights a cigarette. They agree to keep quiet about everything. And she says, I assure you, James is doing the same thing. Do you know James at all?
Right.
He doesn't rat them out, but he's definitely not being quiet. That's not accurate. And then Maddie tells Donna that Leland's hair turned white.
White as a sheet.
And Maddie's acting like everything just blows her mind,
That's true.
Right.
That is pretty mind-blowing, though. Oh, and then Donna says the weird thing about Maddie has a very good point.
All we did was send him a tape. Maybe he wouldn't have been attacked if we hadn't.
He was just sitting home watching his recording of Invitation to Love.
That's right.
At an uneventful evening, if not for them.
Yeah.
And Donna makes a great point.
Maybe the sun won't come up tomorrow if you wash your hair. Think like that and you're going to go crazy.
Maybe don't consider a career
Not good at
as a lawyer. Yeah. I think Maddie made a good point. Norma shows up in one of the worst outfits I have ever seen Norma wear.
Oh, it's so unfortunate.
She is so beautiful. There's so many beautiful women in Twin Peaks with horrible clothes. It's just, what is that? I feel like she borrowed an outfit from Hank for some reason. But she says she has a note for Donna that was delivered to the diner, which is pretty weird. I don't know why.
Yeah, so why is Donna getting mail at the diner right now? Donna, care of the double R,
It says, look into the Meals on Wheels. We know it's from Harold, but I don't know why he thought to deliver that there. Back at the station, Albert is checking out Coop's wound to get some forensic details about it. He says Gordon Cole told him to come back. He thinks that the assailant was between 5'6" and 5'10". I looked up Joan Chen's height and she was 5'4". Maybe she was wearing heels. I don't know.
Maybe.
I hope so. Because that would be like the first time Albert was wrong about something.
Yeah.
Coop asks where Albert's general attitude of unpleasantness comes from. And I feel like Coop is the one with the general attitude of unpleasantness in this scene.
Meanwhile, one of your principal suspects is killed in his hospital bed and the other is shot in his living room. You tell me, vigilante justice or just clean country living?
Albert, where does this attitude of general unpleasantness come from?
I'll have to get back to you on that.
Well, if you don't want two black eyes on a regular basis, I suggest you make some kind of peace with rural life.
Great. After the square dance, maybe we can all take a hayride.
Albert rules in this episode.
Albert really rules this episode.
Yeah.
But then Andy comes in and reports that Leah Johnson was locked in a jail in Hungry Horse, Montana. And he says the date. And Albert remembers that was the date that Teresa Banks was murdered, which I think is a really just wonderful thing for Albert to remember.
Right.
They didn't have to look that shit up or anything. And then Coop kind of is like, oh, he was inside a horse. Got it. And then Mike shows up looking for Sheriff Truman because Sheriff Truman said to stop by at his earliest convenience, and this is his earliest convenience. And the spooky music playing throughout this whole scene, even though nothing spooky happens. It's just really funny.
I'm afraid I don't have an appointment. The sheriff asked me to stop by at my convenience. This is the first convenient moment.
He's being kind of weird, I guess, but it's just really noticeable, like the spooky ass music.
It just surrounds him.
Yes.
Spookiness.
But in the interrogation room, Harry is finishing up listening to Laura's tape with James. Here comes Mom with milk and cookies. James says that he thinks Mike and Bobby put the cocaine in his gas tank, and I'm sad to say James is right about something. I hate it when that happens.
I mean, it hardly ever does.
It's true. And I actually hate to say it, but James actually has some of the most helpful information in this whole episode, but unfortunately he tells it to Harry, and Harry is too dumb to have any idea what to do with it.
Well, we were in the woods, and she started saying this scary poem over and over about fire. And then she said, would you like to play with fire, little boy? Would you like to play with Bob?
What did she mean by that?
I don't know. Laura said a lot of nutty stuff. Half the time it just went right by you. This stuck, though.
She said a lot of nutty stuff.
Don't you love that? I mean, she was nutty, but I didn't really care.
Yeah, but she was
Didn't
hot,
bother me.
so, you know.
Right?
Would you like to play with fire, little boy? That would be super important information if only someone who could put anything together heard it. Unfortunately, Cooper gets there a second too late to hear any of that, but he does demand that James give him the other half of Laura's necklace, and then James is like, okay, here you go. And then it's really funny when Harry's like, how did you know that? And Cooper's like, I didn't.
Sometimes you just get lucky.
Oh, he's just guessing. But he's so ornery. Like, I definitely am fine with him being ornery to James for once, but the sleep-deprived Coop is just a little off-putting.
I mean, he also did just get shot, you know.
That's true. He could have stayed in the hospital longer.
He's busy. You can't leave all this to Harry.
You're right. That's a good one. Maybe let Albert do some stuff.
Yeah.
At least James doesn't rat out Donna and Maddie. Gotta give him the credit for that, I guess, because he folded immediately on everything else. And then cut back to the lobby where Donna walks in and somebody whistles, but who?
Krishane, who whistled when Donna walked in?
Right?
So
weird.
So weird. Donnie's being horny as hell.
Yeah, what's gotten into Donna this episode?
Sunglasses.
She's just feeling a little YOLO, I think.
Yeah.
Everything's all fucked up right now. She did find her cutest outfit, or one of her cutest outfits.
I love that fit. Like, that's a good look on Donna.
Belted up turtleneck sweater. And Laura's glasses, I guess, have given her confidence. Although she already was a little confident before she got the glasses.
Yeah.
I like that. I like this confident Donna. I wish that she did something better with it than go and try and seduce James.
Right. She had to do it with me through the bars.
Yeah, but so good. You're lucky. You're lucky. Anyone wants to do it with you through anything, James.
Right. It's like very Raymond Chandler dialogue about the smoking, you know.
When did you start smoking?
I smoke every once in a while. Helps relieve tension.
When did you get so tense?
When I started smoking.
And then fucking James, how's Maddie?
How is Maddie?
She's fine.
I like Donna's response. She's fine. And then Donna asks a very good question.
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong.
Or is it just not okay for me to want you?
Yeah, stop being so slut-shamey, James.
Right.
He presses his forehead against the bars like a dum-dum.
He's a real dum-dum.
At the conference room of the sheriff's station, they have 3 years worth of Flesh Worlds. Flesh's World? Flesh World magazines.
Yes.
And Coop asks Lucy and Andy to look through them for ads featuring Teresa Banks. And then Coop says something sex-shamey and walks out, which I'm like, what is up with you, Coop?
Diane just received the back issues of Flesh World. Good work. It's nice to see some cooperation with the law, especially from a company that preys on human weaknesses.
I know you did a shot, but just be cool.
They prey on weak people.
Fetishes are not weakness. That is not a good correlation.
No.
It's true that people who prey on human weakness use it for that purpose.
Right.
But the company isn't preying on human weakness. The company is catering to fetishes and connecting people who are into the same fetishes.
Yeah.
Like standard poodle enthusiasts who are also swingers.
This was pre-internet. You couldn't just find anyone the touch of your hand.
Andy says, I sure feel uncomfortable. And Lucy says, we're both professionals.
Lucy, I sure feel uncomfortable being in this situation with you.
Why? We're both professionals.
He's the one who's been pretty professional this whole time, and Lucy is now. Right. I don't know. Lucy, you're not doing it for me this episode.
She does not handle all this well.
No. At the hospital, the food is a crime against humanity. I don't even understand what's going on with the food at this hospital.
Like someone dumped a bunch of baby food in a tray.
Yeah, it's all like green and yellow. I don't think there are any other colors on the plate.
And everything's pureed.
Pretty vile.
And there's like some practical effects making it bubble up and squeaky sounds. Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like someone is making a gurgling sound with their mouth. That might be what's
I
happening.
bet you.
Yeah. Cooper asks Jacoby to tell him straight how he got the necklace. Jacoby admits that he was following a red Corvette, and then he found James and Donna in the woods, and then looked at what they buried, and it was the necklace. And then he goes into this very irritating metaphor about how Laura was a divided heart, leading a double life. Like, oh.
Shut up.
Yeah. And he makes all kinds of leaps.
Laura was, well, she was living a double life. Two people. Then when I saw her that last time, I don't know, she seemed to have reached a kind of peace with herself. What she had in fact arrived at was a decision to end her life.
Laura Palmer did not commit suicide.
No. But maybe she allowed herself to be killed.
Yeah, she allowed herself to be killed or whatever. Like, this is like the most.
Where are you getting that from?
She absolutely, like, what?
Was she a 17-year-old girl who was attacked by a
Right.
much larger
She did
man?
not want to die. God.
She let it happen.
Because she was divided. She was two people. Right. She was an angel and a whore.
Right.
And that is as much nuance as Jacoby
he's, like,
can give
literally
anybody.
victim blaming.
Yes. Dictionary definition of victim blaming.
So gross.
It's pretty bad. I feel like Cooper is being appropriately curt with Jacoby in this particular instance. And then he asks about if Jacoby remembers anything from the night Jacques was murdered. And he says, it's all like a dream. Just a classic Lynch line.
Right.
So great when people think things are like dreams. And he smelled that scorched engine oil. Elsewhere in the hospital, Bobby sneaks into Shelley's room. And her food is also bubbling. He brought her flowers. They are so cute in this scene. My
Adorable
God.
together. My gosh.
What are you doing here? What if someone sees you?
I don't care. I do not care anymore.
I love that weird thing they do with their hair.
So into him, yeah.
Oh, it's so cute. Bobby is so concerned about her, and she tells him what happened, and he didn't know any of that. He didn't know that Leo was going to try to kill him. I love that he says fat chance.
He told me he was gonna kill you.
Fat chance.
And then, of course, after he works out that she's okay and they kind of check in with each other, they get straight to being horny.
Yeah.
Which is just
They're
so
so
wonderful
horny
with
for
these
each
two.
other. Yeah, I love it.
So, if you want to get out of here, you're going to have to let Bobby be your doctor. Oh, you seem to be coming along splendidly.
I do love when he looks down her shirt and says, "You seem to be coming along splendidly."
He says such strange things. He has the weirdest phrases. Who ever heard the word splendid when you're horny with someone? Like, I have not.
I can't recall. I love his surprise when he says, "I guess I love you too."
I guess I love you too. Yeah. I guess I love you too.
Yeah.
Like he never
He
thought
really
about it
had to
until
think
then.
about it.
Right.
But then it's like, it really means so much then, because he's like, I thought about it and I guess I love you too. They catch Bobby leaving and Harry says he doesn't look sick. And then this is the greatest line from Albert ever.
Bobby Briggs. What's he doing here? He doesn't look sick. Sheriff Truman, to see this kind of investigative genius at work, just a real treat for me.
Albert says what we've all been thinking this entire time. To see this kind of investigative genius at work is a real treat for me.
It's just a real treat for me. Oh my God, I love it.
They get to sitting in the hallway outside Nadine's room, and Cooper talks to him. And then Harry's like, "I'm going to buy you a cup of coffee." And then he takes him 2 feet away, literally.
Like, I think that coffee's free, right?
Yeah. And also it was like, I'm going to give them some privacy, but then we'll just be standing over here watching me.
We needed them. We needed, because all of Albert's reactions to all of the story are just
it's fantastic.
I never believed in fate, Agent Cooper. Always felt you make your own way, you take care of your own, you pick up after yourself.
Farmer's Almanac.
He's having a very good time
Oh,
listening to this. Like, this,
it's such a redneck.
it's really redneck. That's definitely what he's thinking. On her honeymoon.
One bad weekend, Norma ran off with Hank. I was so twisted up inside I couldn't see straight. When I opened my eyes, there was Nadine right in front of me. We drove all night, and I asked her to marry me. Half joking, half drunk, half crazy. It was light before we found the justice of the peace. And Norma, well, she hadn't even slept with Hank. And the look on her face when she found out.
He says, I was half joking, half drunk, half crazy. That's 3 halves.
Right.
I feel like Albert shows a lot of restraint not saying anything about that. Right. I mean, somehow he manages to get through that whole story.
It's so also like just also that it's like this sort of spur of the moment wedding, and then he shoots it.
I shot out Nadine's eye on that honeymoon.
What do you mean, Ed?
Well, the first day we were hunting pheasant. I fired, and a piece of buckshot skipped off a rock and caught Nadine square in the eye.
Man, that's a tough one.
She never cried. She never blamed me. She never hated me for it.
It's like this weird spin on the like shotgun wedding, you know?
Oh my
Like,
God.
That's like basically why he stayed with her, because he shot her eye.
Yeah, that's terrible. And then I'm so mad at Ed when he says, like, she hadn't even slept with Hank. Like, why does that fucking matter?
Right.
Shaming is
He's
definitely a
so
huge part of this
gross.
episode.
I do not like Ed.
How do you feel about Ed, Krishane?
Eh.
You can hate on him.
He's so wishy-washy. It drives me crazy. It's like, just make up your goddamn mind. Come on. Just make up your goddamn mind already. Either stay with Nadine or get with Norma, who is, obviously that's who you really want to be with. You're staying with Nadine out of pity, which has its merits, I guess, but it still pisses me off. I feel like Nadine, for as batty as she is, deserves better than that.
Yes. Hard agree. And Norma deserves better too, frankly.
I agree with that statement.
At the end, he never does make a decision. It's like Nadine who finally ends it with him, and then it's like, hey, Norma, it's your lucky day. You know? Like,
I know, it's so sad. James shows up to see Ed just then.
Yeah.
Cooper hears it dripping and finds that smiling bag finally.
Creepy.
I know, what's dripping? The bag's getting cleaned out? Is that what's dripping?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Bag juice.
Bag juice, yeah.
Poor Ed, poor Nadine. Oh my goodness.
Poor Ed. Poor Nadine. Yeah.
And then we finally see another doctor, and I guess that doctor's job is to delegate things to the nurse.
Nurse, I really mean it. You better speak to that kitchen.
I mean, good. Someone does have to talk to someone in the kitchen.
Yeah, but why doesn't he go do that? He seems like Doc Hayward's got it all under control. And Pete is also in the hospital, and he practically passes out from the smell of the food. Poor guy. And then Norma visits Shelley, and their scene is so sweet.
So cute.
I've got a chocolate peanut butter pie. Norma, I'm serious. Bring the whole pie. Let me bring it too. Bittersweet.
I love these two.
She wants the whole chocolate peanut butter pie.
God, don't blame her.
Yes, please.
And then she walks out in those terrible jeans.
Norma.
Oh my God. If Norma can't make that outfit look good, then nobody can. Nobody. At the Double R, Bobby comes in and does a series of hilarious gestures. He notices Garland sitting in a booth. He's kind of reticent to stay with him, but eventually he stubs out a cigarette without being asked, which I think is very nice.
Yeah.
And then immediately lies down in the booth.
Lies down in the booth.
Teenagers are so tired all the time.
Yes, I have a teenager myself.
How was school? How was work?
What do you
That's
do?
classified.
Dad,
Yes, son?
what is it that you do exactly?
That's classified.
Bobby doesn't want any pie. I'm not sure why. And then I noticed that Garland calls him Bobby, which he never does. He always, like, when they're doing heart-to-hearts or whatever, he's trying to do a heart-to-heart, he always calls him Robert.
Yeah.
This time he calls him Bobby, and that makes Bobby receptive to what he says.
Right.
And he tells this wonderful story about a vision he has, which sounds like a dream kind of, but he's sure it's a vision. And if Garland thinks it's a vision, I believe him. This is just so wonderful.
It's so good. Yeah.
My son was standing there. He was happy and carefree, clearly living a life of deep harmony and joy. We embraced a warm and loving embrace. Nothing was held. My vision ended. I awoke with a tremendous feeling of optimism and confidence in you and your future. I'm so glad to have had this opportunity to share it with you.
I'm so glad I had the opportunity to share this with you.
Yes.
Bobby, oh my God. Dana Ashbrook's acting. This is one of his finest moments.
Yes. I mean, I'm so glad that Bobby responds that way and he's not just like, duh, he went with them on that. I love it.
He's so vulnerable in this moment.
Right.
Yeah.
See, Bobby is going through a lot.
Yeah. Well, he really needed to hear that, I think.
Right. I had this vision of you living a life of joy and harmony. It'd be good for Bobby.
It would. He's like, that sounds a lot better
than what's happening right now.
Yeah. And then Garland stands up to leave and they shake hands, which is so cute. Bobby wipes away his tears, and then Hank salutes the major. Fuck you, Hank.
Hank kind of ruins it. It's like, oh, God.
He's the worst. He's such a suck up.
I hate Hank.
Norma comes back in and doesn't want to talk. And then that's when Bobby remembers that Hank was the one who shot Leah.
Right.
So that's helpful. And then we're back at the station, and Harry and Coop, well, I guess it's really just Coop and Albert are laying out what happened. And Harry is just taking it all in. Too Many Donuts transition to spooky trees, to stoplights, the greatest hits of the spooky transitions. And then I love how the donuts are in the frame the whole time, like superimposed over everything, even though it's too many donuts.
There's like 100 donuts on the table.
And before that, they're like, let's get some jelly donuts. I don't even know if I saw a jelly donut in that pile.
Maybe that's what they actually ate. I don't know. I don't know why there's so many donuts.
It's
There's
so
just, like,
upsetting.
4 people.
Yeah.
It's like 10 donuts per person. It's got to be at least 10 donuts per person.
Please.
It's ridiculous.
They're stacked pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're talking about someone getting murdered. So it's like, why would you think you would have this insatiable appetite while you're talking about this? But anyway, it's just what they do. It's part of their process, I guess.
The third man took Laura and Ronette to the train car where they were tied up. Using a blunt object, the killer hit Ronette and knocked her unconscious. He then placed a small cutout letter R under the nail of her left ring finger. You'll recall that he placed the letter T under the fingernail of Teresa Banks. He left a note written in blood, "Fire, walk with me."
And then at the end of it, Andy's crying.
I know, Andy, I know. It's what we call a real three-hanky crime.
And Albert, it's not super cool of Albert to make fun of him, because it is pretty terrible.
Right. It is a three-hanky crime. That's the only thing I don't love about Albert on this episode.
Yeah.
I don't know. He could be half joking, half serious. Not, you know what I mean? Like, he's looking down on him for crime, but I feel like it's true. It is a three-hanky crime. It is very sad.
It is.
So he's like, all right, sure. I'm not going to pretend that you're not crying, but
yeah. He's been holding his tongue for too long. It's almost like Tourette's too. He's like, I had to say something. I'm sorry. I just had to say
a long time without insulting someone.
Yes, exactly. They talk about how pretty much everybody who was there was dead. That leaves the third man. And then there's like a very Hitchcockian third man sound that happens after they say the third man.
Laura Palmer is dead. Jacques Renault is dead. Ronette Pulaski and Leo Johnson are in comas. Waldo the bird is dead. This leaves only the third man.
And then I guess we fast forward a little bit because suddenly Harry's taken Pete home to the Blue Pine Lodge. So somehow Harry left that meeting and went to the hospital, grabbed Pete, discharged him, which actually takes like such a long time. It takes a long time to discharge someone from the hospital. Anyway, they're back there.
This smoke inhalation
It's nasty business. I feel like somebody taped my lips to the tailpipe of a bus.
He finds a note from Josie that explains her absence.
She's in Seattle.
I love the way he reads the note.
Right.
With all of her incorrect English phrasing.
Dear Pete, I had to leave the town on an emergency of business to Seattle. Hope you did a good day at the mill. There is ginger beer in the fridge. Love, Josie. There you go.
And then how it seems like the stuff she does pick up is from P, because she says there's ginger beer in the fridge. So basically Josie says, I'm in Seattle shopping. No, she says I'm in Seattle. And then Pete surmises that it's for shopping. A secret vice. And then Harry's like, what? What's the vice? Don't worry. You should worry, actually, but Harry doesn't know. And then Pete has the sweetest fucking speech about Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
I always figured I'd be the one to go first. And then, like, basically his, like, love-hate with Catherine.
I mean, if he was laying odds on the last person standing after an atomic war, I'd have bet on her. I no use mincing words. She was plain hell to live with. Plain hell. But once there was a little bit of heaven there, too.
Ugh, such a wonderful Jack Nance.
Yeah, he's so
scene.
good in this scene. I mean, he's always so good, you know.
How does he do that with his eye? He really, like, emotes separately with each eye. It's, he's amazing. So just then, somebody calls from the Great Northern to the Blue Pine Lodge. It's that guy.
Right, that guy.
It's that guy we see a bunch later. Jonathan. And then he places a call to Hong Kong Collect, which, yikes, that's gotta be pretty expensive.
Pricey.
Pricey.
And then elsewhere in the Great Northern, Ben and Jerry are doing a walk and talk about European delicacies.
Right. Including having rocks in it
Yes.
or something.
He says, I mean, I ate it, but I didn't really know what it was. But then he, like, I guess found out later what all the components were, and part of it involves putting hot rocks inside of it.
I mean, I ate it, but I didn't really know what it was. And then I read about it in this French magazine, and they take the entire head and dip it in a kind of blancmange pudding. And then they roll it in oats and stuff it full of walnuts and hot rocks and a spice.
Mr. Horn?
They wrap it in papillon. They seal the edges with a sugar glaze. And then they bake it under glass.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
Loves weird European food. Ben asks if Jerry's seen Audrey. He hasn't. They're not worried about it.
Right.
Cool. They enter the office. It's dark. Hank loves to wait in offices in the dark.
God, I hate
because he's so extra.
He is.
They ask him where Josie is. He says she left town for an alibi. Then he talks about how Leo's in the hospital with brain damage. With Leo, how could they tell? Good question. He explains that he couldn't go into the house to shoot him because there were patrol cars around. He thinks Leo is chopping wood inside.
Right. He's like, you know, Leo.
And we were trying to figure out, he really thinks that because he saw Leo with an axe, right?
I think he does really think that. Like, he didn't see Bobby. If he had seen that someone else was there, he wouldn't have just been like, all right, I'm taking off. He would have left like a potential witness.
Yeah. Right, I'm taking off. You know, Leo.
You know, Leo.
Chopping wood inside?
Yeah, you know, Leo.
Wait a minute. Chopping wood inside?
Yeah, you know, Leo.
Laundry outside, you know, Leo.
He thinks Catherine's dead. He's wrong. Ben makes a weird claim. If they don't pin it on Catherine and or Leo, he'll give up sex.
Right.
Why?
Ben
put that out
fucks,
there?
just so we know. Like,
Leo's Ben, we know.
so gross.
And then Hank's like, what should I do with the ledger? And they don't really know yet.
Yeah. That's a predicament, that ledger.
That ledger. It's like the Sports Almanac and Back to the Future. At At One Eye Jack's, Audrey's come to see Blackie, who's getting a sumptuous massage from one lady and another lady who's doing a pretty terrible job on her feet. Blackie's giving her a reprimand about not
fucking the owner.
Not fucking the owner. She tries to explain it away. He's not my type.
Well, the owner isn't exactly my type. And what is your type exactly? Not you. No offense.
Not you, no offense. I think that's so funny.
That's really funny.
Yeah. Also, I love Audrey's little face when Blackie beckons her over and she walks over, and it's like the most like defiant little girl face.
Yeah.
I just love Sherilyn Fenn's little moments of like, I'm still totally a little kid.
She is so good at portraying that.
Yeah, I'm a sexy little kid.
Right.
And then Blackie does some cheek squeezing, which, as we've talked about before, is like a huge David Lynch shorthand for sociopath.
Yeah.
Blackie's mad. She's withdrawing from heroin. Things are not great for her.
She's having a rough time.
At the Hayward home.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hayward supper club.
Yeah. Before they sit down to dinner, Donna calls Norma about Meals on Wheels. She asks if she can use the Double R station wagon. Why does the Double R have their own station wagon?
They might deliver things sometimes.
I guess they must. And then finally, we meet Gersten.
Yes.
Good evening. I'm Gersten Haywood, and I'd like to welcome you all to the Hayward Supper Club.
We've been wondering about Gersten for some time.
Tell me where is Gersten?
She's always missing, but here she is, and we find out that the reason she was missing probably is because she is way overworked.
Right.
My good news is that I was chosen to be the fairy princess in my school play. Also, I got the highest scores in mathematics and English this mid-season term, just as my sisters Harriet and Donna did before me. So now I don't have to worry about being ashamed anymore.
I don't know if the pressure is from her parents or self-imposed, but I am so worried about Kristen. She's like, I don't have to be ashamed anymore now that I have the highest math score in my grade.
What? Why
Why
were you ashamed?
She clearly spends a lot of time playing piano because she's very good, and she's the fairy princess in her school play.
Right.
Gersten's too busy. She's like a little Laura Palmer with all her extracurriculars.
Oh, gosh, she is.
Yeah. Oh boy, poor Gersten. But for now, she's enjoying being the MC of the Hayward Supper Club. She introduces her sister Harriet to read a poem, and it is a spooky fucking poem.
It's a weird thing for Harriet to do.
It was Laura, and I saw her glowing in the dark woods. I saw her smiling. It was Laura, living in my dreams. The glow was life. It was Laura. And she came to kiss me goodbye.
I just want to make sure no one's forgetting that your daughter was brutally murdered, you know.
In the
that's what
woods.
They are, yeah. But it's like, and here's how I feel about it.
Yeah. I saw her. I had a dream.
Yeah.
Laura was in my dream. Yeah. But some spooky shit she says. The dancers are calling. She was glowing.
Yeah.
She was in the dark woods. Yeah. Major Firewalk Me vibes here.
Uh-huh.
Donna tells a little aside to Maddie that she got that Meals on Wheels gig. Will is falling asleep at the table. Leland calls him out on it. And Will kind of turns it right back around and is like, hey, Leland, what happened to your hair?
What the hell happened to your hair?
It is strange, isn't it? I woke up this morning, looked in the mirror, and there it was. It had literally changed overnight.
Well, considering all you've been through.
So what do we think happened with Leland's hair?
Well, isn't it something about Bob? Like,
I mean, definitely, but
I think it's just that he's bobbing out more, you know.
he's bobbing
like
out for him.
he's-
Getting
Bob is taking over.
Yeah. It's like Bob has the gray hair, so now so does Leland.
Yeah, but his hair is like pure white, so that's interesting because Bob's hair is, everyone's always like dirty, filthy hair. I feel so bad for Frank Silva anytime anyone describes Bob because that's just how he looks.
Right.
Like disgusting, horrible man. He was supposedly very nice.
Right.
But he says, I feel like a great weight has been lifted. So like the weight was in his color. Now that that's gone, it's like the guilt part of him is gone, I guess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He definitely still has lots of guilt later, but interesting.
He's pretty overdressed for this Hayward family.
Yeah. He's wearing a tux, I believe.
Yeah, and Harriet's wearing a turtleneck and sweater.
Right. Remember that when you would wear a turtleneck under a crew
I would
neck?
never do that.
That was a thing, though.
It was a
For
thing.
real. Ugh, why did we do that to ourselves?
It just seems hot. It seems so hot. Yeah. Also, yeah. Oh, I hate turtlenecks. I've never liked them, but
I don't mind them.
just personally, I find them uncomfortable. I don't think they're bad on people. It's just I don't like that around my neck. But that's my own issue. Yeah, just a lot of different outfits.
Well, that's cool. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, come however you want.
Yeah, we're doing this fun thing that
Yeah.
our daughters came up with, and wear whatever you want.
Yeah.
And Donna's
I mean,
like,
I have lots
I'm
of
not gonna
stuff
change.
that I'm like, I want to wear it. I have not had an occasion to wear it. So
It's
if
true.
the Haywards invite me over for dinner, I'm going to wear that like leather skirt and sparkly top,
You
with my butt
should.
picture.
Yeah, you look very nice in that outfit.
Thank you.
What would you wear to the Hayward Supper Club, Krishane?
Oh, geez, put me on the spot. I'm gonna go with a turtleneck.
Nice.
But not a turtleneck under a sweater, just like a turtleneck and then maybe a nice circle skirt, like 50s style circle skirt.
Ooh, I love it. Yeah, nice.
What are you going to wear?
I will probably wear my May Queen dress.
Oh, nice. I like it. We kind of did a lunchtime poll. And
Yes.
crossover.
Yeah. So after Harriet reads a poem, Gersten starts to play Mendelssohn on the piano, and she keeps playing all through dinner.
Yeah, everyone's eating dinner and she's just playing on the piano.
Like, break and give her something to eat.
I hope they gave her some mac and cheese or something before she sat down to play piano for hours. I'm so worried about Gersten.
But yeah, why is her name Gersten?
There's so many reasons I'm worried about
Yeah.
it. And then Leland's like, I feel great. I feel like
Yes.
singing a song.
Oh boy, Leland.
He sings Get Happy. It starts out great.
Yes.
And it gets really bad.
Forget your troubles, come on, get happy. You better chase all your cares away. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment day. Sing hallelujah, come on, get happy. Get ready for the judgment.
Donna, get my bag.
He falls over. Kirsten does a great underreaction.
Dad, is he okay?
He's not. He's definitely not okay. Even though he thinks he's okay. He's like, it's fine, I'm fine. I want to sing Begin the Begin now.
I feel happy. I feel happy. Begin the begin.
Now you're definitely fine.
That's a sign. That's a cry for help. And Sarah's like over the table, like, fuck my life. Poor Sarah. Now we're back at the group 315 at the Great Northern, where Cooper is trying to get some fucking sleep.
Oh my God, he never gets any sleep.
But first he's telling Diane about how he never gets any sleep.
A man can only go so long without submitting to a period of rest. For as we know from experiments conducted on American GIs during the Korean War, sleep deprivation is a one-way ticket to temporary psychosis. And I'm working on a 3-day jag.
Which means he hasn't slept in 3 days, right? Other than like being unconscious at the hospital, I guess.
Well, is it a 3-day jag, no sleep at all, or like because he keeps getting woken up?
Yeah.
Or get kept up,
It's just been 3 days since he had a full night's sleep, I guess. Yeah. But then we cut to One-Eyed Jack's, where Audrey is also having trouble sleeping, understandably.
Right.
She's praying to her special agent. She is like, why didn't you get my note?
I left you a note. Didn't you get my note? I slipped it under your door. You must have seen it.
It's a great question, because the note was on the table by the phone at the beginning of the episode, and now it's under the bed.
Right.
And I don't know why or how. Do you know, Krishane?
I've been trying to figure that out for ages.
Is it like the giant fucking with him again? Like hiding the note? When he comes back, he's like, you forgot something, but he doesn't say what it is.
Yeah, I didn't tell him what it was.
It's really cute how Audrey says, if I'm going to help out with your investigations.
I mean, if I'm going to help you out with your investigations, I'm sure I'll be put into situations a lot more dangerous than this on a fairly regular basis.
He's got this whole
so
idea of them
Yeah.
being like Mulder and Scully but together basically. Which would have been great. What a spin-off that would have made. But alas, David, we can't have nice things. But then the giant shows up and he's like, don't search for all the answers at once.
Don't search for all the answers at once. A path is formed by laying one stone at a time.
In other words, it's going to be a while before all this stuff is revealed to you.
Yeah.
But about that third man.
One person saw the third man. 3 have seen him, yes. But not his body. One only. Known to you. Ready now to talk.
Ronette. And Ronette is waking up and remembering a bunch of scary shit. Yikes.
Yeah, that is scary.
Basically, the penultimate scene of Fire Walk with Me, but censored for television.
Right.
About as much of that as we could possibly see on network television in the 90s.
Right. Yeah, it's a network TV show.
Woo,
Crazy.
Lord. Yeah. And then, fortunately, as a palate cleanser after Bob's terrifying, scary laugh, we get Gersten playing piano forever.
Yes. Yes, it's so rare that there's credits that are not just the picture of Laura.
Yeah. It's only David Lynch directed episodes that happens.
Oh, interesting.
And that's the end of the episode.
Wow,
So,
a lot, jam
woof,
packed.
that was a big one. That's a big boy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Roadhouse is proud to welcome.
Let's start with the Ceiling Fan Award, the scariest moment. Krishane, what do you find to be the scariest moment of this episode?
I think this will come as no surprise, but Ronette waking up and, seeing Bob and scary Laura's screaming face. I think it's like those close-ups of Laura's eyes and her mouth, just like the whole shebang right there. It's nightmare material, honestly.
It is. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's so scary. I assume it's going to be a unanimous.
I think
Ceiling
so.
fan this time. Yeah, like especially the Laura screen, the scary Laura, and Bob is always so scary to me. So
yeah.
Is this also yours?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But for me, like, I get kind of chills, like scary chills when her arms start raising up in the bed.
Yeah.
Like that starts for me. So if I had to pinpoint like one shot in that scene, it's that one.
It's pretty spooky.
Yeah. It's all terrifying.
It's definitively spooky.
Yeah. Maybe like some of the scariest parts in the whole series.
Yeah. Whew, glad we got that out of the way. Let's do a fun one. The Fish in the Percolator Award, the funniest moments.
There was a fish in the percolator.
Krishane, what do you got?
Albert's reaction faces to Hank's story about shooting Nadine.
Oh, good. So good. Those are. Yeah.
That is a nice link contender.
Yeah. That's not mine, but it was a contender. Yeah. I mean, there were a lot, but I think my favorite was Ben and Jerry dancing along to Leland. Like how they just were like, okay, we're in. Yeah. Leland's here singing. Okay, yeah, we're gonna dance around and stand up on the table. Like, yeah, that was so
God.
funny.
I really love that too. I feel like I can't pick it just because I don't want to pick Ben and Jerry.
Yeah, fair.
But I do love it so much. It's the greatest that they ever get.
Yes.
And for me.
Yeah, agreed.
But I really, really love Donna in the jail. And her whole
do it with them through the bar.
Her whole thing about like, when did you get so tense when I started smoking?
That's really funny.
I just love it. And someday I'm gonna give Donna the MVP award. I don't know when that'll be, but so I'll give her that instead. I'll give her the Fish in the Percolator award this time. Because I really want to love Donna. I feel like it's not her fault that she has to be with James so much.
Yeah, I feel fine with my feelings with Donna. Donna is not a favorite for me, but I don't have anything strong against her. Except when she's yelling at Laura's grave. I don't like that.
Don't like that.
I don't like that either. No.
LVP. My
Ooh.
goodness, so many options.
Contenders. Krishane, you get to go first on this.
Truman, Sheriff Truman. That's an easy one. He never has any idea what's going on. He's totally clueless.
Yeah.
He really is the worst.
He's so bad.
Like, how are you sheriff? I mean, I know it's a small town, but it's not that small.
I feel like Hawk should be sheriff, if anything.
Yeah.
It's not like it certainly shouldn't be Andy, but
No.
Yeah. Harry was a top contender, although I feel like I picked him a lot. But here's another one I have really before is Jacoby's my LVP. Because Laura did not want to die.
Yeah.
Ding dong. So
yeah, that's bullshit.
it's like, keep that name out of your mouth, Jacoby. Like everything he says about her is wrong. Like, Laura was a woman. Like,
yeah,
Laura was
she
17.
literally wasn't. Yeah. Fuck off.
You are the worst.
You're right. He's awful. Ugh. Well, I was gonna pick Hank because I hate Hank
is
so
terrible.
much.
Yeah.
But now I feel like you talked me into Jacoby because that really is like you can't. Yeah, that you can't talk that way about my girl Laura.
Right.
You cannot do that. MVPs, baby.
Krishane, the guest.
I had a hard time with MVP. I chose someone non-traditional. I went with Andy.
Whoa.
Right.
Right.
To begin with, he's the one who is on the phone with Cooper at the beginning.
Right.
Probably calls the doctor. Who knows? We don't really know for sure, but it was probably him. He also was the one who accidentally revealed the location of Leo's boots. Not intentional, but if it wasn't for Andy's stupidity, wouldn't have found the boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Especially the thing about like basically saving Coop's life. Pretty
Right.
important thing to do.
Very big deal. Andy has his moments, even though he's an imbecile.
He does.
Yeah. Once in a while he gets a good moment. Yeah. Okay. So I was really close to picking Albert because there's so much Albert does that I love in this episode. But the only thing I don't like when he says, oh yeah, it's a 3-hanky crime. Like, it is. That should not have had any snark. It is sad, that thing that happened. But he was very valuable. But my MVP is Leland. I mean, it's just like Ray Wise. I just love how whatever he's doing, like he commits to it so completely.
He
You know, Get Happy is just, it also hits home like what a weird song that is, you know, like it was a pop standard that's about like you're gonna die and go to heaven with, you know. It's a really weird song anyway.
It is. He likes some weird songs.
He does, yeah.
He's got strange ass taste in music.
He really just like makes this episode for me. Honorable mention, of course, for Briggs, but it's really just that one scene, you know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of contenders this one, but I had to go with Leland. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have 3 second place contenders.
Oh wow, yeah.
Which were Briggs for obvious reasons, Albert, but you're right that shitty comment pulled him out, and Pete is just so wonderful.
Oh, you love Pete.
I love Pete. I picked Pete before, but who I have to pick because you just don't get that many opportunities to pick this person. I gotta go with Gersten. I love you, girl.
Oh wow.
Take care of yourself, please.
Gersten.
I love Gersten. I'm glad she's alive and thriving. Well, not thriving, but she's like getting through it. She's basically raising herself, obviously. She's very good at playing the piano.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Gersten. Yes, I'm so glad Gersten is okay right now. I'm sure she'll stay fine.
Yeah, everything going great for Gersten.
All right, well, we finished this episode.
Yeah.
Krishane, do you have anything you want to plug?
I have no plugs.
Do you have anything you've been enjoying lately?
Baking. Oh, I'm Great British Bake Off comes back on Saturday, I believe. So I'm going to be looking forward to that and some new recipes.
Nice. Do you bake stuff that they make on the show a lot?
Sometimes, not a lot.
Yeah.
But sometimes that would be a lot of time out of my life if I did it a lot. But I do it on occasion.
That show makes me very hungry. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Krishane.
Yes, thank you, Krishane.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was awesome fun.
Really Weird Stuff is hosted by Annie Malone and Jessica Baxter. Music by Julie Cruz, Angelo Badalamenti, and Jessica Baxter. If you enjoyed Really Weird Stuff, please take a minute to rate and review us on your favorite podcast app. Follow us on Instagram at Really Weird Stuff Pod, on Twitter at Really Weird Pod, and on Facebook at Really Weird Stuff Podcast. Thank you for listening.